Hi everyone, I'm Don Smith here in the Channel 36 studios in downtown Clark, and today, friends, we are here to talk to you about something that may not be so pleasant for many of you watching this here on Channel 36 and also on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Let's bring into the conversation the supervisor of the D.P.W. here in the great township of Clark, Scott McCabe. Scott, always a pleasure to see you.
Hi, Don. Nice to see you.
You too. Thanks for joining us. So, tell us what we're going to be talking about here today. We're going to be talking about the sewer system. We're going to be talking about these flushable wipes that have been so in the forefront of the news over the last couple of months or so. So let's first tell everybody what the flushable wipes are. There may be some that may not be familiar with what they are because they don't use them in their everyday life. Let's start with that first.
All right, Don, real quick, what we have, there's multiple different types of flushable wipes. Yes, they are all flushable, but they don't decompose. This is typically your flushable wipe that is, multiple brands have them, which is a very strong material.
Okay.
Great for women using makeup and cleaning different things around the house and whatnot. But that is your typical wipe.
Okay.
Very strong, sturdy, great for wiping your arms and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, maybe in some cases, like in the summertime, maybe taking down suntan lotion or something like that, or what have you, like you said, with makeup. And they're very durable, as you see. They're you can barely pull them apart, even though they're kind of moistened in some cases.
Oh, they're durable, they're moist, they're strong. You can clean almost anything with them.
Okay, so now tell everybody as far as, let's kind of do a little 411 here first, as far as, okay, many use these flushable wipes that are not so flushable, is really what it comes down to, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they're supposed to be thrown into the garbage in most cases. Now, using in the bathroom and so forth, a lot of folks are flushing these down the toilet, and that's where the problems begin because of what? What is the reason why?
Well, you got a couple reasons that the flushable wipes are not so flushable. Over the past couple of years, we've had a major change in water conservation, where we went from 3 to 5 gallons of water per flush. Now they're mandated to 1.5 gallons of water to move everything down the sewer lines. That is one problem. There's not enough volume of water that we're using.
Okay.
The second issue is that the wipes do not break down as your typical toilet paper and stuff that was made to flush down the sewer system.
Right.
Anything is flushable.
Right.
I remember flushing G.I. Joe parts.
Okay.
But they weren't supposed to be there.
Sure, right.
What happens now is that when residents are flushing the flushable so-called wipes, they're getting stuck on the sides of the pipes. Primarily, they could be getting stuck on their own house mains because of the age of the pipes. That in turn causes a problem with their sewage backing up into their houses. If you have a volume enough of wipes that are not decomposing and breaking down, they start backing up the city sewer mains, which then turns into a major problem that we have to send crews out to open up a clog of sewer wipe.
Flushable wipes.
Flushable wipes,
right,
thank
or
you.
the unflushable wipes when it comes down to it. So walk me through this in a typical household. Okay, you have your house. Again, I rent, so I don't have a home, and I'm not responsible for the sewer system or in my home. So you have your house here, and then the pipe comes directly out to the street. Is that correct? The sewer line comes from the house to the street, and that's where it meets up with the city sewer main?
Correct. You got it right on.
Wow, look at that. Okay, so where is it really getting stuck? Is it on your property, or is it more coming off of into the actual junction with the city?
A lot of it is more on the homeowner's side before we find out.
Before you get the notification or the problems, yeah.
Then the homeowner will be calling a plumber to unclog their main. As they unclog their main, it flows into the city main. Not all the time is possible, but as the flow comes downstream, we'll call it, the wipes and the buildup constantly build up against each other, and then clogging the 6 or 8 inch sewer main that's in the street.
Right, and again, you think of a 6 or an 8 inch sewer main, it's a fairly, this is obviously nowhere near a scale in any capacity.
Not that big.
And that's a fairly large pipe. I mean, when you think about it, if it's clear flowing and it's just fresh water or sewer water or whatever, and not having anything stuck. So it's kind of just in the insides of those pipes, so that's where these flushable, non-flushable wipes, whatever we're going to call them, right? That's where they're getting stuck. And then over time, they begin to shrink that pipe from an 8-inch down to 6, then to 5 to 3, and then now you've got some issues. And like you said, if it's on your property, then it starts to back up towards you, and then you can have major problems inside your basement.
Major problem in your house, but also if it flows down into the city sewer mains, what's happening is it's causing all your neighbors to have an effect. Because if the main sewer line is not flowing properly, it can back up for blocks before the first person realizes that there's a sewer backup.
So your feeding into this can affect your entire neighborhood in a sense. For blocks on either end of your home, that you can really see a lot of issues with backed up sewer pipes.
100% correct on that.
Okay, so now Scott, we brought some demos here. We've got props here.
Yeah, I
at
like
Channel
to do a little
36.
props. What I have is I'm just going to put regular water into 2 bowls.
Okay.
This is going to, I'll use the term, represent your toilet line, your store line.
So here we go. We're going to put these right in the center. So again, friends, this is just regular clear water like you would have in your sewer pipes. We'll say that's pipe A and that's pipe B. Okay. So now you're going to stick which is this now?
This is the so-called
flushable wipes. Okay.
This is one that is designed for the bathroom.
Okay.
Lysol.
Sure.
No name brands, but there are cleaning wipes also.
Yes, that's true. Okay.
So we're going to put this right in the water. Then we're going to take
kind of marinate in there. Okay.
Yep. Then we're going to take a regular piece
That's just regular standard toilet tissue.
Toilet tissue.
Okay.
And we're going to put that in there.
Okay.
What we're going to do, we'll let this sit for a minute, same amount of time. And
so now, as you mentioned time, what are you seeing in your calls that you and your team are going out and investigating as far as the length of time, as far as what these flushable wipes are blocking these pipes? Are we talking over years or months, or?
We could be talking anywhere from days
to weeks. Really?
Yes.
Days to weeks. Wow. Okay.
If you have somebody that uses just wipes in their home.
Yeah.
And they're flushing, and all of a sudden they have a blockage in their house, and say they open up their tub after they took a bath. Now you have a high volume of water coming through their residential sanitary system, and now it's going to push all those wipes out into the sewer main. And what happens is when you get a magnitude, it just sits right there.
Just sits there, yeah.
And there's not enough volume of water to take them through the curves and bends of the sewer system.
Of the sewer system, right. And now the sewer system, Scott, I mean, here in Clark has got to be what, at least 100 years? I don't know, what kind of an age are you looking at here for most of the town?
Well, most of the town's probably somewhere around 60, 70 years old.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit older.
Sure.
But they're all concrete pipe. Some brick work and stuff like that.
Right.
We do clean our problem area lines, and I say a problem area. It's more that the line is flat, not a heavy pitch.
Yeah.
That we maintain monthly, bi-monthly to make sure everybody is flowing well.
Right.
That's where we're really starting to notice the magnitude of the wipes in the sanitary system.
So now when you and your team go out, what exactly are you doing? A lot of times we see the different pieces of apparatus and so forth around town. Are you using those to regularly maintain the sewer lines? Is that the way it is? That you have some sort of equipment or whatever that goes up into the pipes to clean them? Or is it just how does all that work?
Well, we have one piece of equipment, it's called a sewer jet.
Okay.
It's a 1-inch hose, 600 feet long, runs approximately 1,500 PSI water jet. And what we do, we'll send that up into the line, and we'll bring everything in that line back to the sewer main, which could be anywhere from 12 to 36 inches in diameter.
Right.
So anything that's in that line will come back into a large volume pipe with a lot more water to take any debris that's in that pipe down to the processing plant in Rahway.
I see. Okay. So now we're still letting this stuff, friends. We're kind of still letting this kind of marinate here. So we're going to go let it go another minute or so. Really give it a good soaking on either side, just to give you the demonstration as far as what's going to break down and what's not going to break down. So as a homeowner, other than not using these wipes altogether, because maybe in some cases that's not feasible in some particular instances. Are there things that you can do? Is there any kind of additives or agents or something that you can stick into the pipes on your end to try to break these things up?
No, right now there's nothing that will break up a wipe. It's a very solid, hard, woven material.
Right.
They actually, when you get down to the plants at the final destination plates, they actually have screens that are screening the wipes
Catching the
from
stuff as going into the
pump process,
into the pump
and
process,
stuff like
right?
that.
Because I imagine that we get all the gears and everything else, that we get everything all kind of
Well,
messed up.
that's what we're running through, because
Yeah.
we have 7 pump stations in town that we have to pump the water,
Yeah.
and the wipes are clogging up the impellers in some cases.
Yeah. Now I know you had sent me some pictures as well as some of some of the actual stuff coming out of those pipes, and you can see the material is stuck on the outside, like it's got nowhere to go because it can't break down.
Right. We're bringing that out. The one picture I did, I know exactly the picture you're talking about. That is actually a group of wipes bigger than a softball,
Wow.
is what was on the end of our
Yeah.
nozzle that we were retracting.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And
Yeah.
that flooded probably 6 houses.
So again, friends, this is where it comes into play as far as it's just not your home, you're affecting your neighbors, and the radius of that is it's probably unknown as far as how far of a radius it could be. You just don't know. It could be 3 houses down, or it could be 3 blocks from you.
That's perfect. That's
You know?
exactly what it is. You
Yeah.
can either be the first one on the line, or you could be the last one on the
Right.
line that is going to get flooded.
Right, and that certainly we don't want anybody to get flooded, in any type of capacity. All right, guys, let's go back towards our demo now. This was the flushable wipe. Now, this has been in here for a couple of minutes now, and you can see, I'll do the grand honors here, Scotty. So you can see that this has just been soaked in water, and it is, I mean, you can't even tear that apart.
It didn't change much.
I went to the gym this week, Scotty, and you can't even tear this thing apart.
You better work on that one.
I better work on that one. So this is your flushable wipe, non-flushable wipe, what we're calling it. So that is just, it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so let's bring in our standard toilet tissue that you see here without me dropping the water. So we'll put this here, and now you can see that this is it's just completely tearing apart. As you can see, this is just completely tearing apart here, right as we speak. So this is just completely disintegrating inside the water. And I'm sure if we left this in the water another 10 minutes, there probably wouldn't be much of it left.
And that's pretty much what happens in the residential household. It goes into a trap. It'll sit there, another flush, and eventually starts moving its way down your household sewer line.
Right.
Pretty much by the time it comes out of your sewer line into the township's line, there's nothing left.
There's just nothing left, right?
Versus
the flushable, non-flushable wipe. That's kind of.
I didn't go to the gym, but I'm putting a lot of strain on that.
There's a lot of
It's not
pressure, a
even-
lot of force, but there you go.
There
But
it
that
goes.
took a lot. And certainly water is not going to really take care of that. In some cases, I would imagine that it's most cases you're just not going to tear them apart. I mean, the water pressure is not that. I mean, look how, I don't know what the PSI that you went ahead and did that with,
It's just
but this is.
you're only talking gravity moving sewage.
Right.
Everything is gravity.
Right.
Everything goes downhill. So,
Okay. So again, friends, this is the problem. These are the things that are getting stuck in the pipes, and it not only affects just you, it affects, like we just mentioned moments ago, 3 houses down, 3 blocks from you. That's where the major problems begin. All right, Scott. So let's wrap things up. So what would you recommend to residents as far as for those who want to use these wipes and use them in the restroom and so forth? What are some tips as far as to if residents still want to use these?
if they still want to use the so-called flushable wipes,
Yeah.
use them at your will, but do not put them in the toilets and down garbage disposals and stuff like that. Put them in the garbage can and dispose of them in the landfill.
Right. So, and with the standard just toilet tissue, I mean, just about all toilet tissue would pretty much do this, right? I mean, there's so
Yes.
many different versions that are out there in the market that you see. And again, you can just see it just completely just disintegrates in my hand. So, So again, as we wrap it up here, again, these are the flushable wipes. They are the problem for getting into the sewer system, and you certainly don't want to have this is certainly not a flooding issue that anybody wants in any capacity. Never want to have any kind of flooding.
No.
But this kind of stuff is not something, if this backs up into your basement or whatever, you got a huge problem. Then you got a
It's not
sanitary problem. That's even more difficult sometimes than just if you happen to just get a little bit of water. So again, use these discretionary if you want to put it at that.
Try to use them and just put them in the trash can.
Just put them in the trash can.
Whether it's a baby wipe or
Right.
an adult wipe or makeup remover that has the wipe consistency, just throw them in the garbage can. Make your life happier and your neighbor's life happier, because you don't know who you're going to
Right.
affect in the long run.
Right. And again, I just want to also get back to your point before we really wrap it up here. As we've been saying, we're going to wrap it up for 10 minutes, but we're going to keep going for a second. Because, the low flow toilets, or if that's what you want to call it, that is probably one of the bigger contributors to it, correct? As far as that, for the amount of pressure that's coming from the actual toilet itself, trying to push these through the pipes?
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, is that it's not that low flow is an issue for cleaning out the sewer lines.
Right.
But the fact that the wipes just do not break down is the issue on its own, because you're constantly having a solid going down the sewer line.
Okay. Very good. All right, so again, this is their flushable wipes. This is the toilet tissue. This is what you want to do, not this. So, Scott, thanks so much for coming in to the TV36 studios. Great props, as always.
I try.
You try. They're very good. So, we could probably leave this thing in another 10 minutes and it wouldn't do anything.
Leave it in there another 2 weeks.
Another 2 weeks and it wouldn't even do it.
My thing is, before we leave,
Yeah.
no wipes in the pipes.
No wipes in the pipes. There's the slogan. There's the motto. No wipes in the pipes. All right, Scott, thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Don Smith here in the TV36 studios. We'll see you soon.